How did Honest Abe's hat inspire the name of the Cache la Poudre River? In the early part of the 1800s, it was all the rage to rock a sweet hat like Abraham Lincoln. Lincoln, seen here rocking a sweet hat. Some may know that these felt hats were often made from the buck-toothed beauties called beavers. Demand for beaver pelts to make sweet hats encouraged the bustling trade of fur trapping to expand into the newly acquired Louisiana territory, including places like northern Colorado, where there were beavers f***ing everywhere. So, it's 1836, and a group of French fur trappers are exploring part of the new Louisiana Purchase, traveling north through Colorado, where they stop to camp along the bank of the Cache la Poudre River. Can we just take a second to think about these guys? Like, these are hard dudes who would spend months on end just dicking around in the woods looking for beaver furs. And that's how we got our clothes. No baby gap, none of that stuff right now. Let me introduce you to one of these guys from the fur trapping crew. His name is Antoine Yanis, and he's the founder of the town of LaPorte. He is said to have been the one to have recounted this story. Let me just tell you about this dude for a second. He was born in 1824 and said this went down in 1836, which would have made him... math. 12 years old. Yeah, 12. Okay, so he was a full-grown man at the time, traveling through northern Colorado with a band of what I can only assume are horny as hell French fur trappers. Needless to say, the dude lived quite a life. Here's a picture of him with Chief Friday, one of the great Native American Western Plain chiefs. Look at that picture. Old Dead-Eye Giannis staring into my soul in the background there, just projecting how much shit he's seen. Ugh. So, as the legend goes, during the night a storm came through and brought a bunch of snow, as a-hole early spring weather in Colorado tends to do, and continued for several days. After the snow subsided, Antoine, who's 12, mind you, and the crew opted to lighten their load to cross the river. They found a hidey hole and stashed a bunch of shit. This was not an uncommon practice, but was expected not to be recovered. Some of these supplies included their gunpowder. When they came through a year later, the cache was still there. This is how they coined the river the Cache la Poudre, or roughly translated, the hiding place of the powder. Huzzah! The fur trade would continue in the area until it began to die down in the late 1840s. But old Giannis laid stake to a claim of land, and he and his wife lived most of the rest of their days in the area right by Vern's place. As we reach the end of our tale, we realize that had it not been for some fancy beaver ball hats like old Abe's, we may not have had this beautifully difficult name for our river. Thanks for joining me for a brief history of northern Colorado.